What's up to our sidekicks and henchmen out there in the Geek Nation? You're watching The Faux Show with Johnny Destructo.
And Terry, otherwise known as Big
Bear.
Dog and the Cheese.
No, you Mother Hubbard. I'm going to call you Tear Bear.
We're going to have that joke for the rest of time.
Also, we should probably look into what jokes are.
Oh, sick nerd burn. Easy, John.
I got this. I'm so excited to have this because it's my Jon Stewart. I get to flip the pen, and I do this, and I do this, and now I'm Jon Stewart.
Welcome to another episode where we are going to have a little bit of talking and a little bit of debate.
Yeah.
Because we found that we have something to disagree about on every topic.
Yeah.
So pretty much that's going to be the new format of the show.
We don't get along is what we're saying.
No.
He's a son of a bitch.
I really am.
Yeah. All right, so what's on the docket for today?
The docket today is Batman. We're going to talk about all the Batmen that we have seen in the cinematic world.
All right, I'm going to stop you there, and
Okay.
I'm going to confess I've never heard of him.
Never.
Now, the Batman?
Never, ever.
I don't know.
The Batman.
The Batman.
Harvey Batman.
All right, so
So we're going to talk about which is the greatest Batman we have seen cinematically. And then there might be a little debate.
all right, so for anybody out there who doesn't know, we're going to go down the list of the Batman.
The Batman.
All right, so we got Adam West.
The original Batman.
Well, he wasn't the original. There were like serials, black and white serials, but like as far as popular culture is concerned, we'll call him the original.
Talking about
Batman.
like Crunch Berries, except it's all black and white.
What?
Cereals.
Oh, mother. So we got Adam West. We said that. We've got Michael Keaton
Mikey Keats.
from the Tim Burton Batman, 1989. We've got Val Kilmer, who took over for Mike Keats. Then we've got the George Clooney,
Oh boy.
Jorge Clooney's,
Hey.
and Ben Affleck, and Christian Bale from the Christopher Nolan one, right?
Well, Christian Bale, then Ben Affleck.
They're out of order, but you get it. You know. And then we've got another
We got a special one that we won't talk about
All right.
until later.
Okay. So those are the Batmen that are up for debate.
That's right.
Who is yours, or should I go first?
Well, I think the first thing we should do is kind of explain each one, positives, negatives, if
Okay.
there are any positives,
Okay.
and then we'll have our decision at the end.
All right. So we'll start with Adam West.
Yep. Big negatives right from the bat, campy as hell. This is not
Yeah.
my Batman at all. No. You know, this is really just for some of the, no offense, old heads out there that when they were kids had the Adam West TV show.
Yeah.
And that's really the only people who I can see this being their Batman.
See,
it's
now-
not mine. Mine was always serious. Mine never had humor. And so I can't identify with this character. There's the negatives. Positives, he brought Batman to the mainstream.
He sure did. In a big, big way. Really hardcore. There's like Batmania was going on in the 60s for a good 2 years. This show was so popular at the time. There was the Bat-Tusi, which was a dance. The merchandising was out the roof. It was crazy.
And the movie.
And then
It had a movie.
I still love that movie.
Shark Bomb.
And then it just done. It was immediately America went, we're done. We're over.
Did Vietnam happen and then it was just like, see it?
Maybe.
Wouldn't that be interesting?
That would be interesting. If only we knew things and researched them ahead of time. So I'm one of the old guys, right? I liked the Adam West Batman as a kid. When I was growing up. And actually, as you were saying that, it kind of occurred to me that when I was growing up, man, reruns were a thing.
Oh, yeah.
You would come home after school and they would be playing the 1966 Batman on reruns. I would also watch things like Nick at Night, what had the I Love Lucy show.
Sure.
And
Yeah, I
all
was
those
one of
sorts
those-
of things.
I was one of those
Honeymooners, classic reruns. And I'm not sure moving forward we're going to have reruns going into the future.
No, we have Netflix.
You have Netflix and you can just watch stuff, but there's not going to be a place where you just go to watch these reruns. Or
You're
if
not
there
gonna be
are,
forced to.
Right, you're going to have choices.
Yeah.
And so, as a kid, if I had a choice between reruns and new things, I would have been watching the new stuff.
Yeah.
But because it was only a thing on television, Channel 57 at 4 p.m., that was my choice. Anyway, that was just an aside that occurred to me.
No, it's a good aside. But anyway, like that Adam West is iconic for a lot, and we talked about good things, talked about bad things. Let's move on, though, about 29 years.
One thing real quick, though. Some days you just can't get rid of a bomb. Come on! It's comedy gold.
Yeah.
All right, so then we go on to Mikey Keats.
1989 happened. There was one thing people were talking about in 1989, and it was the Batman movie that came out with Michael Keaton.
Oh my God.
That, rewind a year, in 1988, and I was one. So I remember this
You're a
vividly.
little baby.
But 1988, all anybody was talking about pre-internet was how horrible a casting decision this was.
Yep, I do remember that. Everyone was, even I was like, what a weird decision. Mr. Mom, Gung Ho, that guy, the comedian. I don't think he was Beetlejuice yet. He might have been.
He was not.
But yeah, I saw that and I was like, that is a strange choice. All right. But
I still think it's a strange choice because my Batman's got some size to him. So there's my negative.
Yeah.
Is that my Batman is not a skinny little bitch.
you thought?
He's a big hulking
Oh,
dude.
I see. Yeah,
Like
he wasn't a buff guy.
And the reason for that
That's true.
is, and we'll talk about this, the reason for that is 1992 Batman animated series, that's a big dude.
Yeah,
The
barrel
way
chested.
he's drawn.
Yeah,
So
for
that
sure.
is like, okay, there's my guy.
Yeah.
And, I mean, read comics.
Yeah, yeah,
Occasionally
he's a big
there's a
dude.
slender one, but for the most part, he's Superman size.
Yeah, well, almost. Yeah, he's definitely bigger. And in retrospect, yes, Michael Keaton didn't really have the physique for the character. If you're a guy who goes out every night and fights crime
Yeah.
with kung fu, well, sort of kung fu,
Yeah.
his fighting moves weren't that great at the time either.
But remember, we're in 1989.
Yeah.
So this is amazing to a lot of
changed-
people. You'd never seen stuff like this.
To
a
me,
lot of
it-
animation in that movie. I didn't
Yeah,
realize.
there's at least 2 scenes of
Yeah.
fully animation.
The first time you see Batman walking is animated.
Yeah. The cape swirls and he walks into the thing. It's an above shot.
So
Pros.
that's probably the only negative is that the physicality of him doesn't fit the role for me.
I thought his Bruce Wayne was great as a positive. I thought his Bruce Wayne was brooding, a little snarky, had a bit of comedy to him. I thought he was a great Bruce Wayne. Weird. That's the other thing
Yeah.
is there's not a lot of weird Bruce Waynes since that, but his Bruce Wayne was definitely a little off.
His wasn't billionaire playboy. His was billionaire oddball.
Yeah.
And I
Mild
that,
shut
you
in.
know, that's got Tim Burton written all over
Yeah,
it, and
yeah.
good. Like this is Tim Burton's best movie.
I would posit that the Edward Scissorhands is up there.
Oh, that personally, that is one of my favorite movies.
And
ever.
Beetlejuice. It's
It's up
here's
there,
the
but
thing.
I think Batman's the.
Kids, Google Tim Burton. You'll find that he used to be very talented and used to make really good films. What was the last good movie that Tim Burton made?
Sweeney Todd.
All right, that was pretty good.
Yeah.
But the rest of it, yeah. All right, so that's Michael Keaton.
Yeah. So.
We also 1989 Batman, the Joker played by
Jeez,
Jack Nicholson.
I mean, we should do the Jokers on another episode, but
Yeah.
because I got some things to say.
All right, so then Val Kilmer did 2 movies. He did 1989 and 1990-ish. They did Batman Returns, 92.
Well, that Michael Keaton did too.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, you said
Did-
Val Kilmer.
I'm sorry. Michael Keaton did 1 and
should
2. And then, yeah, God.
I
Val
love
Kilmer.
Batman Returns too. I mean, Danny DeVito, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Him as the Penguin. It's
And
another
Michelle Pfeiffer.
killer movie.
As Catwoman?
It's extra Burton-y. Extra Burton-y.
Then we move on to Val Kilmer.
Okay.
Enough said about that.
No, I mean the positives. I think he was trying. I think he was
yeah.
being serious.
And he was certainly pursing his lips while in the Batman outfit
Yep.
to look more like Michael Keaton.
He wore eyeliner.
Did he?
Remember that?
Oh,
Well, he
jeez.
took the mask off and he still had the paint.
Oh, that's funny. Well, you know what though? That makes more sense than at least in Batman Returns when Michael Keaton takes off his mask and he doesn't have any paint.
Right.
Like your eyes were just black a second ago.
Right.
Yeah.
But so, I mean, the positive is you can see he was trying at the time. Val Kilmer wasn't a bad choice. Blonde, no, you don't do that. You don't do that.
You don't? Do we?
No,
You sure?
we don't ever do that.
Sorry. I'm-
So I have an issue with that. Obviously, negatives are they put him in a terrible movie.
Yeah, the movie's not great.
Which,
and even the
speaking-
scenes with him and, gosh, what was her name? Tom Cruise's wife at the time? Nicole Kidman.
Stilted.
It was rough.
It's rough. And Chris O'Donnell wasn't that bad, but he wasn't good either. Like, I didn't care about that Robin.
No. Was he in Batman Return or Batman Forever?
Yes, he was.
God. I haven't seen it since the theater.
I didn't. It's not worth a rewatch. It's
No.
really not. And that's the movie's fault. So the negative part of that is they put him in a bad movie. I don't think they ever gave him legs.
He might have been better off had he been in a better movie.
I also agree. I'm going to use that exact same thing for the next one, which is George Clooney. George Clooney,
He's a fine actor.
coming off of ER.
He's very charming.
Coming off of ER.
Yeah.
He didn't read Bruce to me, but he'd never been in a role where he did. I think if you tried him now, it'd be pretty cool.
Yeah.
But it just didn't work. He was trapped in a horrendous movie. He was trapped in a movie where the director was literally saying, "Guys, we're just here to make toys."
Yeah.
On every take. So like he wasn't even given anything to work with.
And he's apologized since then.
He has.
He has apologized for murdering the Batman franchise.
On a positive note, there's not any.
Yeah.
There's not.
There's nothing for him to work with, so it's hard to give him kudos for anything.
Right.
Because everything he was given was horrible.
Yeah, exactly.
What a shame. Poor Bruce Clooney. Poor
George Clooney.
All right. Then we move on. So they took a hiatus,
Good, yeah, because of how bad that movie was.
much needed.
And we all know this.
And then Christopher Nolan came along with Christian Bale. I was very excited about Christian Bale.
Who is right off of American Psycho.
Yeah.
Well, technically, he was cast because of his role in American Psycho, but when Chris Nolan was pitching him to everyone, he was working on a movie called The Machinist, where
that's
he
right.
shrunk down to like 115 pounds or
It
something.
was disgusting.
And he has the same frame as me, like 6 foot. Actually, I think he's a little shorter. He might be 5'11" or something. Ain't nobody who is 6 feet tall should ever be under like 180 pounds, in my opinion. My biggest pro for this is the first time I gave a shit about Bruce Wayne in a movie.
Yeah.
You did not need Batman in Batman Begins. It could have just been the Bruce Wayne story. Him just training, him never putting the costume on. It still would have been killer. So the biggest pro to his performance, I think, is he took both sides extremely seriously.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Now, that's also because he was under the wing of a very serious director, the guy that I wish did every superhero movie.
I would have agreed with you had he stopped at The Dark Knight. Batman
You didn't like Dark Knight Rises?
Dark Knight Rises, that's what it was
Oh,
called.
I like it.
It hurts me so much.
Think about tangent. Think about if you had made a movie and you had a whole nother movie written around this character, and that actor dies.
Yeah.
And now you have to make $1 billion on your next movie, no matter what. But you just lost your script and the guy that you were banking on and the guy that you built in all your last movie, and you have to start over.
Yeah.
Put yourself in those shoes and then look at Dark Knight Rises.
And it's still a failure. Listen, if I put
is
myself
not.
in those shoes and then I walk into a lake and drown, it has nothing to do with the shoes. You're still winding up to drowning. And I understand those are big setbacks. I get that. And I know he's on a time budget, time constraints and all that sort of stuff. So I understand all of those things. It doesn't make it a watchable movie for me.
Oh, it's so watchable.
It makes me go, what a shame that there were all those constraints on the director, and it's a shame that we lost such a talented actor that now we have this whole awful movie as well. But yeah.
I gotta go into this. Why is it so terrible?
Why? Why is Dark Knight Rises not great? Okay, I'll tell you, audience. So I'm a guy who goes to the theater and I like to sit and enjoy a movie. I don't sit there and go, oh, this is a terrible idea and that script is bad and this music cue over here is not great. I go because I like to sit and enjoy movies. I try to couch any critical thinking that I have until after the film. And it's only after I leave a movie and think about it later that I go, well, that was a weird decision to make. As I was sitting and watching Dark Knight Rises, things just kept jumping out at me as weird decisions to make. We're gonna send the entire police department into the sewers at the same time. Not only is that implausible, but it's a terrible decision to make. And why would you do that? The fact that there's a fallout from nuclear weapons, right? There's a giant bomb at the end, and Batman has to drive it away from the city, but then it still goes off less than a mile from the city, which doesn't make any sense.
It wasn't a nuke.
Wasn't it? What was it?
It
was
wasn't
just a
nuke.
bad bomb.
Yeah, it was just a big
All
ass
right.
bomb.
All right, so let's say that is the case, and that's fine. They also do that shitty thing that they do in movies where they show the audience the time, the ticking down time clock.
Ah, yes,
and,
a ticking clock.
And then, oh, hey, there's 1 second. There's Batman still in the driver's seat. Oh, it has exploded, but he survived. He got out in time, even though 1 second passed.
That's what the magic of movies is.
That's what the magic of most movies are. That's not what I expect from a Christopher Nolan film. The really crappy, oh, the kid's name is Robin at the end, and he's just gonna pass off all this stuff to Robin, right?
Oh my God, my mouth dropped.
And he's,
like, "Ah!"
oh, so did mine, but in disbelief. Oh, so this guy who's gone all over the world to train to be Batman and has all of this money and resources, just, oh, we're gonna give it to this kid who's had some police academy training and now he's gonna be Batman. Here's all this stuff that's not gonna fit you, wear it. How's a bat computer work? I don't know, here's all this
dead.
stuff. Nah.
He's gonna be dead. He doesn't care anymore.
there's-
He's out with Selena.
Yeah, hanging out at that terrible cafe somewhere.
Fine.
So it's just, but the point is,
So you're saying that Christopher Nolan failed you? He failed you.
he failed me.
He failed you.
He did.
I'm so sorry.
I was bummed. Especially after I walked out of Dark Knight.
I loved it, so good on you, Chris.
No, bad.
That's
Just
the
give me
bad.
your wrist, I'm gonna slap it.
No.
I walked out of Dark Knight and I kind of saw this coming. Just stop. Dark Knight was a perfect Batman movie for me. I thought it was just operatic enough, and it was just serious and had enough charm and all that sort of stuff, and it's such an epic Joker story. Just leave it alone. Just stop here.
But the Joker's still out there.
Which is fine. He's always going to be out there. So I was fine with that. Anyway, okay.
I really
Tangent.
want to read the script that never was.
Oh, I would love that.
You know, man, wouldn't that be the best if we could get?
I have a
Chris
feeling
Nolan
they're-
it'll never happen because that
Right.
guy, like, his scripts
Yeah.
are like here. But that would be the coolest. He should write a book on it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, and also that would take, I don't know if that's sensationalizing the death of a friend, you know what I mean? I understand, I get that.
Yeah, I mean, he's
Like,
a
let's
classic
leave it,
dude,
yeah.
So.
Otherwise, I love most of his movies. Anyway, all right, big tangent. Moving on.
Sorry about that. Had to know.
Ben Affleck. I poo-pooed Ben Affleck. I was one of those guys who was like, poo-poo on you, Ben Affleck. This is going to be terrible.
I was on the other side early.
Yeah?
I was on the other side early, and I'll tell you why. Because Argo is one of my favorite movies.
Okay.
And The Town had come out too.
Mm-hmm.
Now, put those two together.
Yeah.
Secret agent,
Yep.
FBI guy, mixed with a criminal.
Yeah.
That's
Boom.
Batman.
Yeah. No, yes.
And
in
that's
retrospect.
that's why in reading, I was ready to go.
Yeah.
I was ready to go. I was like, yeah, I'm on board. He can do it.
See, my hesitation was, okay, he's a great director. Is he going to be a great Batman, a great actor? I've been less than pleased with his previous, offerings. But he was awesome.
He was.
He was so good. So good.
I would say he's the best.
He's the best?
He's the best. He's my best. He is definitely my pick for the best cinematic Batman.
Can we agree?
With one exception.
Are we allowed to agree on the faux show? Listen, up until that point, I would say Michael Keaton was my favorite Batman.
I'm going Christian Bale.
And it may have a lot to do with the nostalgia of the 1989. Like, my lifetime is split. My memories are split between AB and BB, right? Before Batman and after Batman.
Okay.
1989. That was such a big deal to me when that came out. So a lot of it, I'm sure, has to do with nostalgia. I still love that movie. I know there's a lot of flaws in that movie, but it's still probably my favorite Batman movie.
Sure.
But as a character, as an actor who portrays a character, I do think that Ben Affleck is my favorite Batman as well.
See, this is the first Batman that is the Batman from the comics.
Yeah.
That I've ever seen. He moves like he
Oof.
moves.
Yeah.
That
That
if you
fight
don't want to watch
scene?
the whole movie, just watch the part where he is going to save Martha.
Yeah.
That is the most Batman scene that we have ever seen.
Absolutely.
Ever.
Without a
The way
doubt.
he kicks, the way he moves, the way he's the way he's brutal, but also like a ninja.
And he uses the things around him.
He also uses toys and
Yeah.
stuff, and batarangs and things.
But even
It's
like
not
the boxes and stuff, he uses the atmosphere, the
'cause
environment.
The Christian Bale is all fear
Yeah.
and shadows. It's
Yeah.
not the ninja. You do see it a little bit, but it's more like
Yeah.
this kind of stuff. But Affleck, and that's a CGI hybrid of him and Affleck running around. That looks like what I dream Batman
Yeah,
is.
exactly.
And so there's the pro right there for physicality. Now, the performance, this is, again, Bruce Wayne is the mask. And it's very obviously the mask.
Yeah.
Like that Playboy, because he does it. It's the only time where you see him in a movie fake drunk, and that's a thing from the comics, where like
Yeah.
he fakes being that
Woo. Yeah.
philanthropist, you know. Christian Bale's Christian did it too.
He
Excuse
did.
me, in Batman
He
Begins.
did.
He
With,
did it too.
and
that is,
the models in the.
that's the Bruce who I know. Who's like, I don't care about anything else.
Yeah.
Let me do whatever I have to do for this public persona to
Yeah.
do it. This one's a little older, but like you can see that guy in there.
Yeah.
But he just feels like Bruce Wayne. Some people are like, oh, why is he drinking and hooking up with models?
That's the mask.
Come on.
Yeah, I get it.
Come on.
I love it. Yeah.
And this is a different Batman, remember. You know, the drinking thing, he drank in the Dark Knight in the Dark Knight
Returns?
Returns.
Yeah. Yeah.
He had switched to whiskey. And there's actually a passage that I remember from an earlier comic that is from Dick Grayson saying, I'd only seen him drink twice. And I don't remember what the first one was, but the second one was Jason dying.
Yeah. Makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah. So he just moves right. Cons, I don't have any. He's Batman.
He's Batman, but I would say that Christian Bale was a better Bruce Wayne. Because of that scene where he's at the restaurant, he's at the hotel, he's got supermodels in the fountain, and I think he buys the hotel.
Batman Begins, Bruce Wayne is solid.
Yeah.
And that's why I said I would watch a whole movie that's just
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
But it's nice that we can separate them because this is the older version of that one.
Yeah.
I'm convinced that that they're in the same world. I'm convinced that this Ben Affleck character
It's just a
is
continuation
older
of
Christian Bale. I think they're the same person.
Nice. I'm into that.
I think they're the same person. And it's great that we can think that. You know, that's cool. Other big pro, Affleck's 6'4" and 220.
Is he that big?
Yeah.
He's a big
In that
Batman.
movie, in
yeah.
that movie.
Oh, okay. Yeah, he's
And
a
it's
big
good to
hulking
see,
dude.
And he should be. And like that's appropriate to me. You would be scared. Oh, the other thing doesn't even come from one of those movies. We disagreed about this, but Affleck showing up in Suicide Squad with handcuffs. I've never seen Batman on film cuff somebody.
That's
And
true.
you got to remember, he works with the police a lot. In the comics, he's constantly cuffing people or leaving people. Yes, in Dark Knight, he left the one guy on the street, and again, it's like, oh, yeah, there he is. But in this one, he feels like he's part of the force, more like a detective, and that's a huge part of the character that's never really been explored.
I will give you a con, talking about that scene. The fact that Batman goes into a dark alley following a convict and his daughter and allows the little girl to jump in between him and a gun. Batman would never ever go into a dark alley with a convict, his daughter, and a loaded weapon and let that girl go in between said convict and him. He would never do that. Given his past and the fact that his parents were gunned down in a dark alley, never. He would wait until convict goes home, puts his daughter to bed, and then convict goes back out, then he gets the convict. He would not confront him in an alleyway with a loaded weapon.
Well, he did.
He did do it.
But for me, it's just the cuffs. You know,
that was
not
nice.
the mannerism, it's the cuffs.
Okay.
Like, visually, finally, I see that.
Yeah. All right.
Finally. Pause real quick. Yeah, but even with him going into there, it was just like the cuffs, dude.
Uh-huh.
And that meant everything to me. It was like, I see him. Oh, and him putting the water thing in his mouth.
Yeah,
it's like,
that's
ooh,
classic.
gadgets.
Yeah, that's a classic Batman.
So that's why he's the Batman to me. He's got the gadgets.
What? One more gadget, the voice modulator.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, that was so great. And that was one of the cons I wanted to bring up about Christian Bale. Swear to me!
Yep.
I need a lozenge. Too much. Dial it down, buddy.
No, not for me.
The voice modulator was great.
That's never ever bothered me. And I don't know that it ever will bother me.
And that's another scene on that friggin' movie, Dark Knight Rises. He's left alone on a rooftop by himself, and he's talking to Catwoman, and all of a sudden she disappears, and he goes, well, that's what that feels like. Why are you still making the voice? You're by yourself on a rooftop, dude.
Because he becomes
Knock
the
it off.
monster. That's his actual voice.
Knock it off.
Anyway, that discussion's been had in the aughts. We are in the teens. Yeah. Here's the bottom line for me. Batman. The reason why I put this Batman above the other Batman is because Christopher Nolan's world is a hyper-real world. And for me, Batman never inhabited a hyper-real world until that movie. He's in a world of magic, he's in a world of monsters, he's in a world of aliens, and this Batman is in that world. He uses gadgets. We got plenty of gadgets in. He's got the car. He's got a car in this. And he's a brooding ninja, which he is in this. Like all the elements that make up Batman, with the exception of the no-kill rule, are in Affleck's character.
Yeah.
In this, and that's why, to me, he's the best Batman on screen. Huge caveat.
Oh no.
We are not including the one true Batman, who is Kevin Conroy.
Kevin Conroy, the voice actor who has played him for decades and decades on the Batman animated series that was on television, as well as the Adventures of Batman and Robin, and the video. I think some of the video games he did.
Yeah, the ones that matter.
Yeah, and a lot of the animated films. He's pretty great.
Really, you were on the other side of the fence with me. You said I wasn't allowed to have this.
You can have this, but I wouldn't say that he is the best Batman actor.
I would.
He's the best Batman voice actor, and then there's slight differences there, right? Yeah. Like you don't have the costume to go off of. You don't know how he works in the costume, how he moves, the physicality of the character, the facial expressions, all that stuff is sort of done for him. He's just there to provide the voice work,
well,
not to downplay.
Like they have the dots and stuff like that, but
not to downplay voice acting, which is a very hard thing to do. But
it's not.
I've heard some terrible voice acting. So yeah, I will agree that he is a great Batman, but he's not, in this conversation, my favorite Batman.
He is because of the Mask of the Phantasm.
That was a good one.
Which came out
around
before Val Kilmer.
Yeah, I think
No, maybe after Val Kilmer. But that movie, watch that movie and then watch Batman Begins. And it's like, Batman Begins is an amazing movie. I wouldn't take anything away with it. But that movie did it first. That movie told the Bruce Wayne story first.
Again, it's been so long since I've seen it.
And I always got to give homage to it. And there's a bloody fist fight with him and the Joker at the end, and it's great.
Is there?
Yeah.
The Mask of the Phantasm?
Yeah.
Joker was in that?
With blood.
I gotta go rewatch that.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Who's your favorite Batman, y'all? Email us at cultpopgo@gmail.com. That's cultpopgo@gmail.com. Let us know who your favorite Batman is and why.
Yeah.
And you know what? Who's the worst Batman?
Let's
get.
no.
I want to hear
Light a
this.
candle, man.
No, I want to hear the negatives. Because you're the internet and that's how you work.
That's why they call him the cheese.
No one does that. All right.
will.
I'm Johnny the Structo.
And I'm Terry Leahy.
Thank you so much for watching the Faux Show, and we'll talk at you later.
See you later. Well, see you later.